Hello there, Gareth here for a serious announcement off the top of the show. A friend of mine, Ruaidhrí, is having health problems at the moment. A collapsed disc in his back causes him pain. Can't really move, and he needs to get surgery. The price tag of which is about 25k, which to me seemed like an impossible amount of money. It was announced about 3 days ago, and €17,956 has been raised at the time of this recording. So I think that should really be a testament to his character. I posted this on Instagram for y'all that don't follow me. I was in 2018 or thereabouts, I think. It was 2017? Doesn't really matter. The point is I was at like an animation Christmas party and just feeling like depressed and miserable. And I told him that I was broke, and he just walked over to some studio head and was like, "Here, what's your fucking problem? When did you fucking hire Gar?" And like about a month later, I was working for that studio. Don't know whether that had anything to do with it, but like I hadn't spoken to him in about, in years. And I once again haven't spoken to him in years and years, maybe even since that party. So I just wanted to announce it at the top here because just as he showed me an example of doing something nice for somebody you only kind of know, I think it'd be worth doing something nice for somebody you kind of know, maybe if any of you who do, or somebody you don't know, for probably the majority of you. Any amount of money will help, and like I say, to see some sort of achievable, some goal that seems impossible looks like it's about to be realized. I don't know, I needed it after the past few weeks of news. So throw some money at Rue and throw some money at Gaza. When you say them back to back, it sounds like we're raising money for two absolute legends, which we are. Link below. I think you can find it gofundme.com/we got Rue's back. Thank you very much.
Celtic Ligers. The first gig that I went to, I was like, I swear to God, one time that there was a Green Day gig, and I was like, I don't think I'm enough of a fan of Green Day because all I have is their best hits, and I don't want to be a
poser.
Yeah, and I don't exactly. I don't want to be like. I genuinely, my thought process was, I don't want to deny somebody who's a big fan a Green Day ticket.
When was it?
So I didn't do it. 2002. So like before American Idiot and stuff. I should have opened this before
and where were you going? You were 12 and you were going to a Green Day concert.
I was thinking about going to a Green Day concert, but I didn't go.
I don't think I would have been aware of concerts when I was 12.
In our school, people were really into like bands and stuff, and then I wasn't into bands. Okay. And then one day I heard Clint Eastwood by Gorillaz, and I was like, now I'm like super into bands, and I want to know everything about bands.
Right, yeah.
I think Sum 41 was also one as well, where I was like, it was like a song, I wasn't paying attention, I was like, all right, whatever. And then it was in my head, and then I was like, I want to hear that song again. And suddenly I was thinking like, wow, I'm into bands. Yeah. And so I was like really excited to show off that I was now into bands. So I was like wearing Sum 41 t-shirts and stuff like that. Okay. But I remember I did it like twice, and I was like, it just really didn't take, because I was like, I can't do this,
I used to have band t-shirts such as, sort of like my sister and her boyfriend would get me band t-shirts, but I wouldn't have any of the bands I particularly liked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd just be wearing those, like Less Than Jake. I did like Less Than Jake.
Oh, Less Than Jake are good.
And then My Chemical Romance. But I just, I like them well enough, but I like Bad Religion, and I didn't have a Bad Religion t-shirt. I wasn't allowed.
I remember, why not? Just because they were like, if somebody saw you wearing that, they might think you're mocking religion. Is that it?
Yeah. Literally.
Really? Okay.
I
So
think it was my
funny.
parents thought to be disrespectful to
That is funny.
the devil's church.
Do you remember? Do you remember that show Tucker? Do you remember that?
Oh, Tucker. Yeah.
Because I just remember it in the first episode of Tucker. He's got a T-shirt which is like his auntie's like, you can't wear that, and then it's a rabbit like smoking a cigarette, and then she goes,
Yeah.
it's a rabbit sucking up a bit of poop through a straw. And then he's like, no, it's not. It's like smoking. And then he comes to school, and then they're like, you can't wear that T-shirt. It's a rabbit smoking. And he goes, no, it's a rabbit sucking up poop through a straw.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn,
There was a era of, teenagers with cool rooms.
Yeah, Oliver Bean, Hey Arnold. I don't know if Oliver Bean had a cool room actually. Now that
I don't even know who. It's so sad. Now when you look up Tucker, you get Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson, yeah.
You don't get Tucker sitcom.
This is what they took away from us.
Yeah.
And this is what they want. That's Ben Shapiro, but he's still in a similar vein. So.
Yeah. Who else had a good room?
No, you said something. The spark. Oh yeah, no. The thing about Oliver Bean, I want to say real quick. You know the show The Wonder Years.
No, I don't know who Oliver Bean is. Let me look him up.
Well, there's a show like The Wonder Years, and the idea of The Wonder Years is like, it's like I remember when I was a kid and my Becky didn't go to the prom with me, and that type of.
Oh yeah, he wanted
like,
to fuck his aunt.
Yeah, like there's a narrator who's like, do you know what I'm talking about?
It was like The Sopranos for children.
That's I guess. I don't know.
I've never seen The Sopranos, and I barely remember Oliver Bean.
So many of these things, like when you say things, I don't know how to react to them. Do you know? It's like The Sopranos for kids. I was like, just trying to figure out. And then once you said, I haven't actually seen it, I was like, I knew that. And yet I still was like, how is it like Sopranos for kids again,
Yeah.
But no, there was, so
this
like The Wonder Years.
Sorry, I'll let you go on. But
yeah.
So it was like an Italian family, wasn't it?
Oliver Bean, or?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it was definitely an Italian family.
Okay.
Anyway, the lead actor who played Oliver was played by
Yes.
Grant Rosenmeyer.
Yeah.
Now, what part of Sicily is he from?
Yeah. You got me
I
there.
asked you.
Well, no, actually, I'm going to say that it's not Italian, and the reason is for the next point I was about to make, which was, so The Wonder Years was like Daniel Stern being the narrator, and he's talking about, back when I was a kid, and then they show Fred Savage being the kid. Oliver Bean was whatever name you just said there, and David Cross was the narrator.
Yeah.
Which is so weird to me. Of like, David Cross, when I was a kid, doing his whatever. I'm just going to guess now that they were a Jewish family. That's what I'm going to guess.
Well, the circumstantial evidence will be in your favour. Oliver attempts to sustain normality in an unpredictable family. Oliver's father, Jerry, spends his days as a dentist.
Just once again, going in my favour.
Oliver's brother, Ted, is a sports nut.
Yeah, he's played by the guy who
And a
voiced TJ
womanizer.
Detweiler in Recess.
Oliver's life is made more bearable with his friends Michael, Joyce, and Bonnie.
Well, what about Joe Joyce and Bonnie, huh?
What about that?
Well, no, tease it out. Don't what about it? Just like picture it. Get a good image of it.
What race is Oliver Bean?
Joe Joyce.
Answers on a postcard. What race? It says here he's American. I'm pretty sure he's Italian.
All right, she must.
What was Bean? What sort of last name is Bean?
Yeah. Teddy. Yeah. Imagine,
What?
huh?
What?
Teddy. Just
Teddy Bean.
no, like
German.
Is it German?
He really is the all-American boy. an Italian man with a Jewish aspect and a German last name.
That'd be a good thing to know. What does David Cross think about Israel? Let's look this up.
What does David Cross think about Oliver Bean and his stance?
Yeah. How does he feel about it now?
Yeah.
He's like,
I used
to
like Everybody Hates Chris.
Yeah, that was actually another show that was exactly like that, where it's like, I remember growing up somewhere, and then it's like some semi-popular comedian reflecting.
It was, wasn't it your man, the famous guy, Chris Rock?
Yeah, it was. It was Chris Rock. Everybody Hates Chris Rock.
And
and it came true.
And I liked the PJs or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that Eddie Murphy. Yeah, I do. Yeah, stop motion animated.
Yeah, they used to freak me out.
Yeah, they were very spooky looking, but it was a funny show.
Yeah.
Did you not find it funny? No.
I can't really remember much about it. I just said I liked it because I remembered it.
I was like, do you know there's like an episode of Futurama where they go down to like old New York and then they tear up a manhole cover and the PJ's face is on it in a reference to it's like one of those things where it's like lost to time, where somebody's watching it like 20 years from now like, what is that? You know?
Yeah.
But I remember it because it was like a glut of new shows that was released, and it was like Family Guy, the PJs, Father of the Pride. Do you remember that one?
I remember Proud Family. What was where everyone was blue? Remember that? That one scared me.
Proud Family?
PJs, yeah, because like...
They're not blue.
They were blue.
They were a black family, the Proud Family.
I know they were the culturally black.
No, they're not. They were so... I don't know, maybe it was your
right.
TV, honestly. They did a reboot of that very recently.
There were definitely blue characters in it.
Oh yeah, there are. They're called the Gross Sisters. Look them up.
Yeah. They used to scare me.
Yeah. Racist.
They're blue. Why were they blue?
I don't know. Just
it reminded it just was like it made them seem really evil. And I'm pretty sure they had evil affect as well.
Yeah, well, they were supposed to be evil. They're listed as the main antagonist in the Proud Family.
Yeah. Gross Sisters.
They all have blue skin due to their usual colours being ashy and not being able to afford lotion.
Jesus, I didn't know that.
Sounds a little bit suspect, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. That entirely depends if the animators were like black or not.
I actually met one of the animators. He came to, his name was Tom Caulfield, and he was white. So there you go. All white animators. No, I don't know. But anyway, I did meet an animator from...
Proud Family Animation Team.
And look up what every one of them thinks about what's going on in Israel. Palestine. Yeah. What was that? Not familiar with what you just said there.
I mean... But why are their clothes blue and their hair is blue as well?
Look, you'd have to ask them. I don't know. You'd have to ask the Gross Sisters. I don't know why anybody... Like, you know when you see that and you're just like getting nervous because it's like, is this some sort of cultural thing that I don't understand and I'm going to look like a fucking idiot? I watched Rick and Morty today, and it was the first episode where a bunch of the animation was done in Ireland.
Okay, and was there any difference?
Nope. No, not at all.
Was it funny?
Nope, not particularly, no. The first episode back was probably one of the worst episodes of Rick and Morty that I've ever seen. And then this episode was like, okay, this is fine. But there was no point where I was like very like laughing at all. There was I tell a lie, there was one bit at the end that I thought was quite funny, but that was it.
What was that?
It'd require me explaining the entire plot of the episode. So.
Okay. Prove you're not Jerry with this Rick and Morty quiz.
All right, go for it. Go for it. I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah. How many allegations have been made against?
Yeah.
That's one thing, by the way. Their voices don't sound any different. They sound like exactly the same. I kept forgetting that they'd been replaced at all, honestly.
How could you forget?
Yeah, so iconic.
Okay, here's the hardest Rick and Morty quiz on the internet.
All right, go for it.
True or false? Uh-oh, this is already dated. Co-creator Justin Roiland voices both Ricky and Morty. Don't know why they call him Ricky. Why do they call him Ricky?
I thought that you were like, is this a trick question then? This is going to be like, I'll say, I guess that'll be like, wrong. He voices Rick and Morty. So I'm going to say false, even though it is also false. Yeah.
I think you'll find out at the end.
Oh,
when Rick gets Unity to create him a TV show, the show is a copy of which real series?
What? I don't even know Unity. What's that?
Yeah, this is boring. This is made by Alan Mack. I'm exiting out of it.
How many questions are there?
It didn't say. There's going to be like 30.
I forget it. No way.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the quiz.
Yeah. Zainab has her hand up. What do you want to say, Zainab? She knows Unity. She was voiced by Christina Hendricks.
Of Mad Men fame.
Of Mad Men. The Madman.
Yeah.
He's a madman. What about a show instead of Madman? It's called Full-Time Mad Bastards. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like he's falling off of a high-rise car park in the intro, and then there's like chicken rolls passing by him or something like that. You know.
What?
Because he's falling off of high. You know, in the intro, he's falling off of like a building on Madison Avenue. Well, this one would be like a high-rise car park, and he's been drinking a bottle of like Buckfast up there or something. Do you know?
Right. Why? What is this?
Because he's a full-time mad bastard.
Right, but the show's called Full-Time Madman.
No, it's not. But it's got the word "man" in it, and also some sort of noun at the end.
Good madmen because they live on Madison Avenue.
Yeah, I know. But if you call him full-time mad bastard, like, why can't she go with me on this? I'm not really
mad. Let's just try it again.
Okay.
Just name another street. Talbot Street.
So you're saying Botmen?
Yeah, Botmen. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
they're robots. They're in Doctor
We're talking
Who
about it's Elon Musk's least favorite show because he hates the bots.
Which is now Rick and Morty.
Botman.
I thought he liked the bots.
No, he's trying to get rid of them. What was it? He's trying to do a thing at the moment where I'm just looking up the article because I put it to one side. Elon is investigating. They're testing out charging an annual fee to use Twitter, $1 a year, and there'll be for any new users in New Zealand and the Philippines.
I'd pay it.
Yeah, all the posts you could ask for. I didn't have to pay before, but like I'm happy to stand up and support Elon in his time in need.
Where is it? The Philippines.
Yeah.
Got this video, and in the Philippines, some people's job, and they go to the dump and they dig around for food.
Yeah.
And then they boil it and then sell it on the street.
In the Philippines?
In the Philippines.
And where'd you hear this?
I can't remember. But I
From
saw
a
a video
little
about it.
website called gript.ie.
Yeah. Would you eat any of that sort of stuff?
I don't know. It depends. I'd have to see it.
So they go to the dump and they find like a chicken carcass.
Yeah. I mean, it probably wouldn't be good to do that, no. Like, it probably wouldn't be healthy to eat that. But, like, if you're talking about eliminating waste, like...
I don't think they're doing it for green reasons.
No, probably not. But like, you know, if you're talking about like some sort of future where we're like, somebody's in a Chinese restaurant and they just throw out an entire dish of food, do you know?
Yeah, don't tell Eamon Ryan about the Philippines.
Speaking of Eamon Ryan, I just put.
Yeah.
Look at the way we're organically able to weave this in.
Yeah.
Although, like, it's kind of because I put all these articles in like a sort of order in a Google Doc. I can show it to you.
Okay. Yeah,
But,
send me the link to it.
Okay, cool. It's on the Celtic Ligers Google Doc.
Just send it to me.
Fine. Anyone with the link can see it. And now
Eamon Ryan was shot in the head.
Yeah. Eamon Ryan, a second N-word has just come out of Eamon Ryan's mouth, okay?
Okay.
I really had to finish that quickly because I suddenly realised I can't say that, you know?
I can't leave it there.
Yeah, I was like...
Gotta bring this somewhere.
Yeah, it's just like, well, no, I already knew where it was going, but I was like, just being a bit too cavalier with like, I'll figure it out when I get there. Then I was like, you better hurry up straight away.
Yeah, we don't want to be caught in the wrong sort of listener.
Yeah. We're already like, you know, in the past few minutes, a lot of the gripped heads out there are really getting their jollies, you know?
Yeah, about Filipino thing.
Yeah.
I saw that in Instagram Reels for anyone who wants to see it themselves.
Okay.
Just spend several hours scrolling through it. I'm sure you'll see it.
In the Philippine capital of Manila, the poorest of the poor are forced to eat pog-pog, washed and recooked landfill meat. Reuters reports that the term means to shake or dust off in Filipino, in reference to the act of cleaning dirt off the leftover food scraps to make it edible.
Yeah, no, I was like, well, the first thing that we might have to talk about was Steve Bell, the cartoonist for... I sent it to you on WhatsApp, the link.
Okay.
But the first thing you'll see is Steve Bell, who is the former cartoonist for The Guardian, was let go after making an allegedly anti-Semitic cartoon. And I thought, like, well, you know, we have to talk about a cartoon because we love describing political cartoons, and particularly when they make absolutely no sense. And there's just been a lot of cases of people getting fucked this week for doing something completely innocuous, and then people using the Corbyn playbook to just go like, that's actually anti-Semitism, what you did there. And then it's like, they then have to issue these like groveling apologies for stuff that they absolutely did not do. Except for Steve Bell. He didn't apologize, I don't think. But anyway, what were you saying?
I think I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. Well, I want you to take it. So you describe it first of all.
Okay, I'm just waiting
this
for this
is what
to
we'll
load.
do. Oh, really? It hasn't loaded yet.
I think my computer's not handling too well these days.
Yeah, no, my one's fucked as well, honestly. Oh, man. I need to get a stand for my microphone. It's hurting my wrist. And I'm not talking about, I don't know, something to do with wanking, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Here we are.
Do you want to take it in turns? Will I describe one detail and you describe it, or? Okay,
it's square.
All right.
The rectangle.
No, this isn't going to work. You better just describe
it. Okay. So first of all, first principles. It's political.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair to say.
Oh boy, is it?
Yeah. Oh boy. He is not afraid to get stuck into the politics. Mm. And then it says, it's Benjamin Netanyahu, BB, to his friends.
Yeah.
And this is sort of where it gets confusing. No, this bit isn't. He says, residents of Gaza, get out now. That's normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a pair of boxing gloves on and a scalpel. And he is carving out a portion of his skin.
Yeah.
That's in the shape of Gaza, presumably.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I didn't consult a map. Now, of course, what jumps in everyone's head first is, of course, the Merchant of Venice.
That's what the article said, but I had no idea what the fuck they were talking about.
I was messing, yeah. Yeah, the article said that it is very reminiscent of Shylock getting his pound of flesh
Okay.
From Antonio. Now, even though he's carving it from his own chest.
Yes.
But,
That's the thing.
and then I found his defense very confusing.
What was his defense?
So his defense was that it's referencing, what's his name again? Stephen Bell.
It says David Levine, after David Levine on the thing, it says. Is that who he's referencing?
No, he's referencing some other political cartoon from the 70s.
Okay.
Let me see here.
It is funny when people do that. It's like, I was actually referencing another political cartoon. It's like, you mean the things that like are the most disposable artwork you could possibly have, do you know?
The most ephemeral piece of media you can possibly make.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was referencing one from the 30s.
Very strange.
He said it was a reference to a cartoonist whose work was synonymous with the New York Review of Books.
Okay.
And it was, David Levine drew this in 1966.
Okay.
In 1966, U.S. cartoonist David Levine drew a cartoon of Lyndon B. Johnson, replacing the scar from Johnson's recent gallbladder operation with an outline of Vietnam to suggest the scarring effects of the Vietnam War on his career.
So, and then he said it's not anti-Semitic because he's wearing boxing gloves are so crucial to the image.
Why is that?
This is why I find it very confusing.
What are you talking about? Like, the thing about it that, like, I'm trying to, like, judge it on its own merits, okay? And I'm trying to understand what it says. So it's it's Netanyahu, because I'm not his friend. Netanyahu wearing boxing gloves, holding a scalpel, and he's, like, on his chest is the outline of Gaza, and he's like, residents of Gaza, get out now, and he's trying to remove it. So here's what I would say, okay? So it's kind of like cutting your nose off to spite your face. The idea is in like, you're engaging in this thing that you think is going to produce a positive outcome for you, but it's actually only going to hurt you more, is what I read it to mean. And then the fact that he's wearing boxing gloves with the scalpel obviously means that he's not going to do a very good job. He's going to cut up his own flesh in a horrific way, you know? And then, like, even on that merit, that was my reading of it. And I was like, you know, hey, this isn't going to turn out the way that you think it is. It's actually going to end up causing you more hurt. And I was like, no, it's not. So it doesn't even make sense on that terms, you know, on those terms. Because during the week there, just after we uploaded last week's episode, we had to I was like, oh shit, like maybe this is so important, we should have talked about it. And I was like, there's no way to anticipate all of the atrocities that are going to be carried out. You just have to release the episode and be like, this is how it was before this horrible thing happened, you know?
Yeah.
But the hospital. So the hospital falls down. The hospital is blown up by an IDF missile. And they were like, yeah, we did that. Or first of all, they were like, they shelled the hospital before, and then they were like, everybody get out of the hospital. All right, now we bombed the hospital, and we're proud we bombed the hospital. Oh wait, you didn't like that? Actually, we didn't bomb the hospital. Palestinian Islamic Jihad did it. And you're just like, who the fuck are they? I heard Hamas for like the past few weeks. I don't know anything about this other group. It's like, yeah, no, they just fired off a rocket and just like blew up a hospital and killed 500 people. And then eventually when that didn't take, one of the things that they tried to do was to say, actually, it only kills 50 people. There's only 50 people in that hospital. And everybody on the planet just goes like, yeah, I guess maybe. Yeah, probably.
Sure, what are those?
Yeah. Or like what they'll do is somebody will go, oh, the Palestinians blew up that hospital. And then they'll go, well, actually, we don't know who blew up the hospital. It's like, you're an idiot if you don't know who blew up that hospital. So why do we have to debate this? Well, I'm not even fucking talking about this with you. The Israelis blew up that hospital, done, dusted. But it's like the fact that they have like they can control the narrative to such a degree. It's like, just you wait, Benjamin, you're gonna, you'll actually end up hurting yourself more in the long run. It's like, no, you fucking won't. He'll be fucking fine. He'll die in complete comfort. Do you know? He'll live out every last one of his days in, and he won't lose a fucking iota of sleep. He won't be, iota. I don't know where you can, measure sleep in iotas, but he's not going to lose any sleep over it. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't fucking care.
I mean, if anything, he needs the war to make sure he's still popular.
Yeah, exactly. Because, months ago, apparently it's the most far-right government that there's ever been in Israel, and people were out in the streets protesting it, and, we need to get rid of this thing. And now this happens, and it's like, actually, the Israelis are, they have a right to, a kind of measured response. And it was like, you already said, a few months ago that they're fucking lunatics, and now you're, pretending that they're fine,
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, even on those merits, you're just like, what was he trying to achieve with this cartoon? What does it mean exactly? Do you know?
Yeah. I don't think it means anything.
I'm just realizing that residents of Gaza get out now is in quotation marks. So is it meant to be sarcastic or something? Or what is it? Do you know?
No, I think it's just making sure you know he's saying something.
I thought that they were going to go, he's got big ears and a big nose, anti-Semitic. Just go like that. And then you just give the Guardian permission enough to be like, yeah, fuck you, you're gone, because they don't give a shit, obviously. But instead they were like, it's all in even more of a flex. It was like, obviously he was referencing Shakespeare, and that's why this guy is anti-Semitic and needs to leave. And it's like, Jesus Christ, you don't even need to say anything. You don't even need to say anything. Because I want
to see if I can find his cartoon for today.
No, he doesn't. He's been suspended. He doesn't have any more cartoons.
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought maybe he'd do them in his own. He'd still do them.
Yeah, he just loves the game so much. He'd stick them out on Twitter. It's like, this is what I was going to do. And it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Star of David, but it's just made out of those pyramid eyes that are on the top of dollar bills.
This one I have no idea.
Which one?
It's a train coming out of a dustbin.
Okay.
And it says it's time for a change. And then there's an older train.
No, I know what that is in reference to. But yeah, is there any other thing in the image? What is it?
It says there's another older style train that has carriages that say the same old shit.
Yeah, so I know what that's in reference to, although I don't entirely understand it. But recently, there was a high-speed rail service that was meant to go from London to up north, and the Tories just cancelled it because they said it was too expensive. And the reason it's too expensive is because they've privatized the railways and all these ways that make it impossible. So they cancelled it. It was actually quite funny how they cancelled it. I don't know, will I bother getting into it?
Yeah, they said it was anti-Semitic.
Yeah, exactly. That what they said was the way that they did it was that, basically what the idea is, let's make sure it's not London centric. Let's open up the rest of the country. We'll make a high speed rail service that connects London to Liverpool or something like that.
Yeah.
And then while they were doing their Tory conference in Liverpool, they just cancelled it, and they announced it at conference. They're like, "Good news, everybody! We cancelled the train here." And then it was like, "Why did you do that? Why couldn't you have waited a week until you're not in Liverpool to cancel the train?" And then they were so everybody was debating about so the train is going to apparently, I don't know, I can't remember the details, but one part of it was the train is going to go to Birmingham or something, okay. But then it's going to stop and it's not going to go to the rest of the north. The other stops they said was going to happen. And you're okay, so it's going from Birmingham to London. It's no, not directly to London, to Acton Town. And then it stops just short of London. Imagine building a high-speed rail service and then getting within a few miles of the city centre and being that's far enough,
Yeah.
You can probably make your way from here. Just just so peculiar. Everything about it was so strange. Where it's I don't know. Anyway, that was it. So he's kind of saying about but the conference. Apparently, the Tories, their slogan for the conference was something change, or something new change. And so the idea is how can it be change if you've been in power for 12 years? And who gives a shit? Anyway, that was what it was. I don't know. It doesn't make that cartoon any funnier.
No, I was laughing.
But the other anti-Semitic thing that allegedly happened was Greta Thunberg. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
And she
that
puts
one
up a
was in
picture.
poor taste.
She goes like, she just says, oh, I don't know, whatever, Palestine solidarity or some shit like that. She just has like a sign up, and then they just, enhance, trying to look in the image, try and find the thing that they can turn into anti-Semitism. And then they find this like soft toy, and it's like, aha, an octopus, as we all know, an anti-Semitic. And then what she goes and does is goes, oh yeah, I'm sorry, and deletes the tweet. It's like, don't fucking apologize to these scumbags, Has anybody learned anything from Corbyn? Like, you cannot apologize to these fucking lunatics.
Is there where did the octopus thing come from?
I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe there was like anti-Semitic cartoons that would be like, the capitalists reaching into people's hands, or like as part of into people's pockets, and it's like, part of a conspiracy or something. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, it's so dubious. It's clearly.
Here we are from the Times of India. How the octopus became an anti-Semitic symbol. It says, oh yeah, here we go. Symbols and imagery used in anti-Semitic propaganda and rhetoric during the 19th and 20th century often use octopus imagery to represent Jewish influence.
Okay, what is it about the octopus that would do that?
It doesn't say. Many posters depicted the tentacles of an octopus wearing the Star of David and encompassing a globe. Seems so random.
I see. Right, yeah. I mean, I kind of get that. It's kind of like, well, I mean, it's a bit weird. It's like, but it's kind of like an animal if it was like a virus, where it's like all over the globe. Although, why would you not have like a snake? Do you know? Like a boa constrictor.
Or like a guy with long arms.
I guess the other thing about it is that it's supposed to be like weak, is the other thing. Do you know?
An octopus.
It's meant to be like, yeah, I know, but I know they're not. But like, this idea of like, when you see it, it's like pathetic and squidgy looking, but actually it's quite insidious. It'll just kind of, smother the world. And honestly, like, anti-Semitism is the one I never got, because like it just, there's sometimes where it's like, oh, there's really obvious differences between people, and you can imagine how racists would be like, a person's different to me, fuck them,
Yeah.
But like with anti-Semitism, I remember the first time I heard, I know this is going to sound so silly, but the first time I heard like anti-Semitism, despite like people just absentmindedly quoting South Park in secondary school, was when I went to college, and this guy was like, well, you know how they are, how the Jews are, and I was like, no, what are you talking about? Like, I had no idea that there was like stereotypes or anything that was, especially with money. I never knew that until I was about 21. That
really?
Apparently, yeah. Because I'd be watching Seinfeld, and then they'd be talking about like tipping and money and all this, and I was like, yeah, that's all I think about as well. So I'm not really like, I didn't realize it was meant to be some sort of stereotype,
Right.
I just thought like, oh yeah, everybody thinks about money. Nobody wants to spend a lot of money, obviously,
Yeah.
I never got it. I don't know. Still don't. So when when I'm trying to uncover these symbols and be like, why would this be used as an anti-Semitic symbol? I can't even do it, because I still don't understand anti-Semitism entirely.
You're sort of too naive.
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, we already had this conversation about like the goblins in Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
And eventually I came round to your like, because they were like, it was me, Zainab, and James in the apartment we were talking about. I was saying, I don't think that the goblins are anti-Semitic. I think people are just projecting onto it, going like, why did you, like a talking piece of shit in the movies, like, why did you put me in your movie? It's like, man, they're just weird creatures. Why do you gotta be so weird about it? And then like, just like, I swear to God, like about an hour of arguing, and then eventually we like looked up, because there was a goblin in
whatchamajigger.
The bank.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Do you remember?
Yeah. Great
And
film.
it was played by Ron Perlman. And then you looked it up and then like you just read out his origin story. And it was one of the most anti-Semitic things. What is that? Are you looking him up as well? The Goblin.
Ron Perlman, Goblin.
Yeah.
Gnarlak. The names are so shit.
I love that they love having like J.K. Rowling on their side as well. Like all is forgiven because she hated Corbyn, and so what they'll do, she'll do a character called Gnarlak, who is from his thing. Where was it? Where was he from again? That was the thing that made him. That was the funniest. Where it's like, he's from like the old country, is what she called it at one point. And
I can't find it anymore. Give me a sec. Gnarlak.
I'm on the Harry Potter.
I'm gonna call my son Gnarlak.
But you know that thing where it's like Steve Bell does that caricature and it's like, oh, obviously referencing Shylock. And then she makes this character called like, Gnarlak Ginsburg. The fucking... Well, actually, that was the other one that she did when the one Jew that was in Hogwarts. Do you remember that one?
No.
All right, let me see.
He carries 2 wands. I can't really remember anything about this guy.
I remember, though, that somebody said he was from the old country, and that's what I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
But anyhow, in 2014, somebody asked J.K. Rowling, my wife said there are no Jews at Hogwarts. I'm a Jew, so I assume she said it. I assume she said it to be the only magical one in the family. Thoughts? So J.K. Rowling responds, Anthony Goldstein, Ravenclaw, Jewish wizard. She just that stuff all the time where she's just like, remember Kingsley Shacklebolt as well? Like a black wizard who's like Dumbledore's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible. Anyway.
I can't remember. It doesn't say where he's from. It did definitely say where he was from.
It did say old country, I'm 100% sure. Alright. What was his name? Gnarlak?
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm looking this up.
Gnarlak is highly cunning, duplicitous, and an unpleasant goblin.
Yeah.
Engaged in criminal dealings throughout his life as a black market gangster, showing no respect for American wizarding law. Avaricious and money-minded, whose sole interest is earning a profit or gaining valuable assets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they seem to have removed actually that bit since we read it Wikipedia, because somebody here is also saying it. Because according to an unused portion of the original screenplay, Gnarlak tells Newt that he is, quote, from the old country, as in England.
He slyly reports to Newton Scamander.
Yeah.
And Porpentina Goldstein.
Hey, another one.
Yeah.
Amazing. Same name. Same fucking name. That's the other guy, Goldstein, the Ravenclaw wizard.
Yeah, I wonder if they're related.
Jesus Christ. Just one other, Come up with whatever. Fucking cares.
What an interesting world we found ourselves in. See
Well,
what
you
else
see
on the look up Jewish wizard, see what comes up. Harry Potter.
It was just one.
Yeah. There's just the one. And then there's some drawings of him. Why would someone draw that? Like, it's not racist, it's just like, that incredibly fucked up style of DeviantArt drawing. So it just seems racist somehow,
I have one of him here, and he's like, it's not DeviantArt, it's like a CGI model.
Oh,
from,
yeah.
like, the game.
Yeah, I think I see that one.
So So I guess he was in one of the games. Oh, do you know what? He was probably
it's in the wiki for Judaism. In the Harry Potter wiki fandom.
God.
Judaism is the religion, philosophy, and way of life of the Jewish people.
Yeah.
Appearances.
Were any of them Christian? Like in like the books? Did they ever talk about religion? It's like, no, there's no religion, just Judaism for some in the magic community.
Behind the scenes, Daniel Radcliffe is Jewish, it says here.
Did he?
I'm an atheist, but I'm proud to be a Jew. It means I have a good work ethic, and you get Jewish humour, and you're allowed to tell Jewish jokes. Weird. For example...
What the fuck are you talking about?
For example, have you heard how copper wire was invented? 2 Jews are fighting for a penny, and so on. Then I just realised, as soon as I started reading, it says citation needed. Someone just wrote that.
From? Someone just came up with like some anti-Semitic stuff where it's like, yeah, I'm Jewish. And by the way, here's a Jewish joke.
Yeah, and it's okay to say it. There are several Hebrew and Jewish names in a Harry Potter universe, such as Hannah Abbott, Abraham Potter.
Just skipping ahead.
James Potter. Is he supposed to be Jewish? Is Harry Potter Jewish?
They should have said that in the first line if he was.
Well, yeah.
I love this.
Here's another. Abraham Ronan, Professor of Charms at Hogwarts, was probably Jewish. Probably Jewish. Because of his first and last name. Just some guy in Israel trying desperately to work.
His eyes are red. He's got like these leaf through volumes of Harry Potter and just like underlining all of these with a ruler.
Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry also taught students from multiple faiths, possibly Jewish, including possibly Jewish witches and wizards, such as probably Porpentina and Queenie Goldstein, distant relatives of Anthony Goldstein.
Are we talking like another fucking Goldstein? Like we know Goldstein is on the record of like.
They're literally related, it says here.
Okay.
But as in distant, so all the Jews in Hogwarts are related.
Okay. I love that the pictures that are included here. There's one of allegedly Anthony Goldstein, and then down at the bottom they have Goliath, an enemy of the people of Israel.
And then last thing, in 1926, New York had at least one shop with a sign written in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the film is what they're trying to say there.
And then next to it, they have a picture, and it says a sign in New York in 1932 that reads in Hebrew, Jewish and American symbols and buttons. Is that in the movie?
I don't know. Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry is in Massachusetts.
What? What is it? Wait, where? I missed that bit. There's an
the
American
bit where
school.
it's like in this other school, there were probably Jews in there.
Yeah.
That school they mentioned was in Massachusetts.
Is there like I don't whatever.
What?
Nothing. No, I'm not gonna. I don't even want to talk anymore about this fucking dumb bitches.
It's funny how like it just is so endlessly weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also so empty. Like the world of Hogwarts seems so massively empty. Where it's like, yeah, there's a school that takes care of all of, the UK and Ireland, and there's only one Irish wizard there. Well, actually, there's two. And then Luna Lovegood, but I don't think she was coded. I don't think she was Irish in the books. She just became Irish in the movie.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like, it just seems like she's somebody who's coming up with it as she goes along. So like a kid will be like, well, what about like Hungary where I'm from? Oh yeah, there's like a school there somewhere. And then she'll be like, what about in America? Yeah, there's one school there. On all of America. You know?
Yeah.
It was massive, you know. Like, what are you talking about? And then, she released some. Do you remember when she released like some book in anticipation of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which explained like the origins of American magic, and there was a bunch of like really reductive things about indigenous people, and then all these like Americans were reading it for the first time, going, but like these are just stereotypes, like just repackaged in this kind of cutesy way. And I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I thought that's what you liked about it. That's what the whole thing's been forever.
Yeah. Christianity in the Wizarding World, much more detailed.
Really?
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say is that, like, she also, you can kind of chart her, like, you know, when she kind of falls in and out of love of the thing she's trapped in, you know? And one of the things she did where it's like, oh, for the long time, wizards didn't use the toilet. They just, like, magicked the shit away from them.
Yeah.
Did you see that? What was that one?
I'm trying to think of other religions. But I wonder if Israel gets mentioned at all in the extended universe.
That's where Goldstein's from.
Is it?
That's what she would do. That's not me being offensive. That's her. She'd be like, yes, of course, he's from Israel, you know? All right, so here we go. However, when Hogwarts plumbing became more elaborate in the 18th century, this was a rare instance of wizards copying muggles because hitherto they simply relieved themselves wherever they stood and then vanished the evidence.
What a life.
Not that smart, huh? Just shit themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're so much better. One thing that always pissed me off in the movies is that there was a bit where like Arthur Weasley is obsessed with like Muggle culture.
Yeah.
And then they go on the underground and he sees an Oyster card for the first time and he's like, wow. And I was like, you guys suck so much that you're just not curious in the least about actual useful technology. Why didn't they, here's one. Why didn't they try to shoot Voldemort with a freaking gun to his head?
Yeah.
Just pull the trigger till it goes click.
Yeah. It goes click.
It's like, oh, barricade Hogwarts. No, I'm just going to take out my AK-47. And I'm not talking about Alan Kelly.
Yeah, get Oppenheimer on the scene. Can you imagine if Oppenheimer and Harry Potter teamed up?
Oh my God.
To fight the
Nazis.
Nazis.
Like, you read my mind.
Yeah, to fight Israel.
Imagine like just imagining a wizard Oppenheimer as well, trying to come up with like a magic atomic bomb.
Yeah, trying to come up with a spell.
Yeah.
I just looked up Anthony Goldstein picture again. And then this one is just racist. This other one. But the Anthony Goldstein one.
Yeah, this guy, he's not allowed to work for The Guardian anymore. Whoever drew that one.
Certainly not.
No.
So what else
yeah,
do you use?
I want to talk about Paddy Cosgrave also, his whole thing. No?
Sorry. I'm just looking at Jewish wizards now. Some guy called Irish Becky cartoons. He just drew a wizard who looks like a Jewish Scraggy. What's the guy's name from Scooby-Doo? Shaggy. Okay, so I go on.
Yeah.
You were saying?
Now I'm looking at them now. No, just that Paddy Cosgrave put out some sort of tweet where he just was like, hey, war crimes are war crimes, even if they're committed by Israel. And then a bunch of like all of these tech guys started to pull out the conference. And then actress Gillian Anderson was meant to like promote some sort of app or some shit that she's made, and then she pulled out as well. And then she's like, my values don't align with that Paddy Cosgrave, basically. And I was like, you don't think a war crime is a war crime no matter who commits it? And then he issued like a groveling apology, and then he just had to resign, and then he left Twitter.
Did you hear what the app was? It was a file sharing thing for Twitter.
Oh fuck, that's
you know, like X-File.
Yeah, no, I got it. I was anticipating the punchline just before you said it.
She was quite a get for that one.
Yeah. What about fuck. No,
Go
like
on.
this is my problem. I just like I'm trying to think of like what about it's an app or something. And,
Okay. Yeah.
It's called Thatcher, but the E is missing. Okay.
And what does the app do? You have to give it a function.
I guess it runs down public services and then insists that the private sector fixes them.
Yeah.
And they're not Puritans about this. What about it's an app that you can like something with the miners probably.
Yeah, mine's crypto miner.
Yeah. No, it's but you're supposed to like, you know, make crypto miners redundant.
Yeah.
Because she's Margaret Thatcher.
Yes.
Because Gillian Anderson played Margaret Thatcher in The Crown.
Yeah. In when? The Crown.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
She plays the
we got
Crown.
there. I like the assist. Oh, thank you. But
the point is she's not going to Web Summit.
She's not going to the Web Summit.
It was sort of mad after all the shit that your man said. That this is the one thing that got him turfed.
Yeah. It
You
is
remember he was like making up the like stuff during COVID? He was like nurses kept dying, or maybe they didn't die or something.
Oh, was it? Are you sure that's him or is that Che Bose?
Paddy Cosgrave.
One of them's like, I mean, Paddy
Liar.
Cosgrave is opportunistic and he is just a tech dipshit who like, you feel like he's only like performatively left wing to spite Leo Varadkar, basically.
Yeah, he said, I don't think I'll say this, it's not true. He said, 4 nurses who fought so hard for many patients, but who themselves fell ill. I got paywalled. Have
got a
now
thing
passed,
here.
R.I.P.
Okay.
And then it turned out no nurses had died. He just made it up. And that was at the start of COVID.
Was it?
Yeah. It was in 2020. Which is a weird thing for him to do.
I thought he was like trying to imply that the vaccine killed him. But if it's at the
No,
start of
he's just
COVID,
like-
there was a lot of kind of panic around at that time.
I know, but he just made it up.
Or did somebody just tell him and then he just repeated it? Like with Joe Rogan and the forest fires where he said Antifa started them.
Yeah. It's a mad thing to say. You didn't really get in
Yeah.
trouble for it.
Well, I mean, it didn't cost him financially, you know, but, you know, he got in
Yeah.
trouble for it.
No, he got rewarded. He got the notoriety he's so craved.
Yeah.
And now he's unemployed. Isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, when these people resign, it's like they never really resign, do they? Do you know?
You don't think Steve Bell has really resigned?
No, I meant more like CEOs.
Oh,
They just kind of like somehow keep making money. Oh yeah, because I have my interests in this, or I know this, but I don't know what the fuck. You know, it's that type of stuff.
yeah.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't really care. Paddy Cosgrave, more like Paddy dig his own grave.
That was a good one.
Yeah, thank you. And then the Israeli ambassador today tweeted something and then deleted it. And by the way, this should probably get you cancelled rather than anything else. Did you see this?
No.
Well, it's not the Israeli ambassador. It's like one of the, I don't know what it is, but it's like, they're like an advisor. They're a top official within the Israeli embassy. And someone called Alex Gandler tweeted, when you hear about Hamas tunnels under Gaza, this is what you need to think about. And so Adi Ophir Maus, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, tweeted that and went, #Ireland, wondering who funded those tunnels of terror? A short investigation direction. 1, find a mirror. 2, direct it to yourself. 3, voila. It's not really an instruction, the last one, but...
yeah. None of that
like,
really is an instruction.
So I was like trying to figure out what the fuck they were referring to. So I like clicked through to look at the video, which was already deleted. And so I just looked at the comments underneath Alex Gandler's post to see what people were saying. And a bunch of people were just going, that's in Mexico, dumbass. So apparently like there was just these underground tunnels in Mexico that some guy was riding a dirt bike through. And they were like, this is all under the place. This is all under, all of Gaza. And it's just another kind of escalation where it's like, oh, you think that when we bomb bakeries and mosques and churches, when there's no, it seems like there's nobody there that was, involved with Hamas, etc. Actually, they're underground, which is why we have to level the whole fucking place.
Yeah. Yeah. And why was he saying that Ireland funded these?
Just completely spurious, just absolute like they're just crazy. They just think that anybody who isn't 100% in lockstep behind them, it's like,
Yeah, they're really going off in Ireland. Particularly after Higgins did his thing. What was it he said?
Oh, I don't know. He just like...
What's his name again?
Talking about antisemitic stereotypes.
Yeah, look at him. Look at the man. He said that they were doing war crimes. And then the Israeli ambassador was like, actually what he said wasn't legally true.
Yeah.
He was sort of like, his characterization of our crimes was wrong.
Sorry, no, I'm just thinking about it because Keir Starmer was asked about it, like former human rights lawyer, and he's just like, oh, Israel has the right to defend itself. It's like, does they have the right to cut off water? And then he's like, yes, I believe they have that right. And then like just on Friday, he said, I actually never said that, even though he was recorded saying it. And then like apparently a load of people in Labour are very pissed off, so they've been like resigning from Labour councils. So they've lost the majority in 1 or 2 councils already. So he's trying to like backtrack, but not in any convincing way. So he did like a photo op at a mosque yesterday.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, I was at this mosque in South Wales. And I'm trying to remember the thing, but it was like, basically what he said was like, I told them in the mosque that we want the hostages to be released. And then people are like, why are you telling the members of a mosque in South Wales about the hostages being released? Like it was just the most Islamophobic thing ever. But it is similarly, do you know that guy Richard Medley or Richard? You know the guy Richard and Judy?
Yeah.
There's like a Labour MP or some I don't know what party she was in, but she's like got Palestinian relatives or some Palestinian descent. And so he's interviewing her and he just goes, but did you know that this attack was going to happen? Like, what was the word on the street in Gaza? He just like acting like something was out there, wasn't it? And just that same mindset of Starmer in there, just going, just tell the boys, okay? This is not cool and we need those hostages released ASAP, okay?
It is not true to say that Hamas individually have killed the 2,600 Palestinians who have died. It is true to say that they have made a situation much, much worse. And there is no condoning, and I'm not about to start condoning what they've done. And it's awful. And it just needs to stop now.
With your family,
it just needs to stop
with your family connections in Gaza, did you have any indication of what was going to happen 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago? Was there any word on the street in Gaza?
Not this.
Loads of people giving out about there's the Citizens' Assembly on drug use at the minute.
Yeah.
People are saying that this is pure rumour, that it's sort of been what's the word? Like carried out in such a way as to make sure that no one actually recommends that drugs be decriminalised or whatever.
I believe that was the result of the assembly, though, that it was that drugs be decriminalised, but it's still like not destigmatized is essentially what it was.
Oh yeah,
that's what I read anyway. Let me find this fucking thread that I had. Did you see that? Was it from the thing I sent, or was it a different thing?
I can't remember.
Fuck this. Let me look at the chat. Let me look at the fucking chat, which we have labelled the Ligers Den. The behind the scenes. I put it in here. There was a citizens' assembly. Oh man, there's so many little funny things. I keep scrolling up and seeing. The one that I saw there is Leo Varadkar getting the
flu vaccine.
So fucking funny.
Yeah, it's like, so weird.
When I saw a picture of him getting a vaccine, I was like, it's probably COVID related. And then I genuinely was like, I never expected him to get a vaccine, because he always struck me as one of those guys who's like very conscious about what he puts into his body and would get very paranoid about the vaccine. But like maybe during COVID, he might have gotten it. But like now that the kind of PR thing has passed, he doesn't need to do that anymore. And then you sent me it and you were pointing out like all these things that made it that no, he's not photographed getting the vaccine at all. Like he's just faking it.
Yeah. There's a lot of weirdness around in general, but like the nurse is not holding a syringe. Like you can see her hand and she just isn't. I think what?
Yeah, I think he does not, like, he's like, I'm not putting that shit in my body, but I do need a photo taken of me, so like, you know, can we get this?
I took it earlier. We'll just restage it for the camera.
Okay. I don't know what it is. It's just a guy who like meal preps and like is he's just as dry as he is. I just have this feeling where he's like, there's a lot of chemicals in it. I think the jury's out a little bit, you know. And a lot of medical professionals as well. Like I was living with a nurse, or like in 2021 when the vaccine in Kilkenny, when the vaccine was, and she was just talking about how like everybody in the hospital, nobody wanted to get it at all. They were like, they were like the first in line because they were medical practitioners and they need to be vaccinated to take care of everybody else. But they were like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this at all. And then she got the vaccine and then she was feeling sick and she was like, I don't even know if I'm going to get the second dose. Like, I don't know if I could. Just, there was so much hesitancy and like anxiety over the vaccine in the medical professionals that I knew, and hearing it through them, they were like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Except for the people who'd gotten COVID, then they were like, give me that shit because I don't want to ever have this, you know. Like my cousin, who almost came very close. Well, my uncle almost didn't make it.
Really?
Apparently. I only found this out ages afterwards. Because they were like downplaying it and kind of like, you know, no, I'm fine. I'm a bit. He's got like, I hear him on the phone with my mum, and you could hear him like coughing. He's like, yeah, it's grand, it's whatever. But they were like, no, he was like pretty touch and go for one of those days there. We didn't know if he was gonna actually make it through.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's over now. What do you think when you see people wearing masks on the street?
I have a very
freaks me out. People come into
work. I have
a
reaction I don't particularly like in myself.
You start hooting and barking at them, you know.
I do get very hostile about it. I'm just like, what's your fucking problem, man?
Someone came into work and they were like, they were wearing the masks, which is fine, but they were like, do you know? And it was like lashing rain. They were like, do you know of anywhere with outside seating that we can go to eat, because we only eat outside?
Yeah.
Is that mad?
Yeah.
In this day and age?
I don't know I don't think they're mad. I think that we're all mad because we should be doing that, probably.
You think we should still be wearing masks?
Well, I've heard that
Like
there's
dogs.
like a new variant, and like everything's on the uptick. And I do genuine, and I'm not joking about this. And I know this can sound so fucking stupid. I preface this too much. It makes me sound like such a whatever. The point is, I think I've got long COVID. I think I've got some sort of like I ever since I had COVID, I haven't felt myself. I felt, even though I'm always depressed and I'm always tired anyway, I feel more depressed. I'm more tired. And anytime I've gone into a doctor and told them, they're like, yeah, fuck it, you're just gone lazy because of being inside all the time. And I was like, I'm not inside anymore, and I still feel like I can't do the things that I used to do. And like I do genuinely feel like COVID has affected me, and I do believe in long COVID. But that said, I guess I'm so, and I hate to use this word because it's such a fucking, but to say like you're traumatized from the pandemic, where it's like any hint of it coming back, I'm like, take that fucking thing off now. I don't want to see the pandemic. I don't want to know anything about it. You know, I know I should, and I know what, but I know that in me, I'm irresponsible. I should be doing this stuff that I'm not doing, but I can't. Like, it's just pure denial. I reject it wholeheartedly. My brain can't hold it in. But anyway.
I'd rather die than wear a mask. I sort of would.
Yeah?
Well, I wouldn't like to wear a mask. I'll put it that
Although
way.
but you were worse affected than I was. You had like fucking sepsis.
Yeah.
You got proper fucked. Like, I believe anyway. Maybe you know.
Yeah. But you ever got sepsis at some point.
There's so many people I know who had like, you know, kind of mild issues with something, and then they got COVID, and then it just like blew it the fuck open, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I've been prescribed an inhaler since I had COVID.
Okay.
Now, I haven't had to use it. Well, actually, I had to use it a few weeks ago because of the dust. The dust reactivated something. But like, used to be, I was kind of like, oh, I was a bit wheezy and I had a bit of a dust allergy.
Dust?
Huh?
What dust?
Just like dust that accumulates in the house. If you move a bunch of furniture around and dust goes into the air.
Okay.
I would have like an allergic reaction to it, but it's nothing I couldn't handle. Whereas after I had COVID, I was just like waking up in the middle of the night, like unable to breathe because I was coughing and it hurt, and I was tired more often. And I went to the doctor and he was like, yeah, you've got like something that's kind of like akin to asthma, but so you're going to give you this inhaler. And I was like, but I didn't have this before. And he's like, yeah, no, but you have it now. And then I was like, I think I got long COVID. And then he goes, nah, you're just lazy. I was like, but I didn't have this thing before, and now I do after having had COVID. And every GP is just like, I went into them recently again because I was like, I am so fucking tired and depressed and I cannot function all the time. And then once again, he's like, I was like, I think it's long COVID. And they were like, nah, you're just fucking, you got low testosterone. Okay. So then they took blood tests for me, and I was like, oh fuck, I hope I am low T. Maybe then they'll give me some shots and I'll be able to grow chest hair and have a cool mustache, you know?
Yeah.
And then I went in and they were like, nah, there's nothing wrong with you, just get some B12. I was like, but I feel like there is something wrong with me since I've had it. And you're just kind of saying like, this, you just feeling tired, exhausted and depressed all the time, more so than, you know, you alleged to have felt before. It's just you being lazy. But anyway, whatever. I digress. The point is, whatever. I found the drug thing.
What's your doctor's name? All about.
I actually don't have an actual doctor anymore. I now go to a place called Med Hub, where it's like you're going into the fucking like butchers. You just pull a number and then eventually somebody sees you.
Okay.
So there's no consistency of care. So like sometimes I'll have like a sports lad who just like thinks, yeah, a bit of training will sort you out. And then other time you have this other guy, he's like, maybe it's your cholesterol, I don't know. And then you just pay him 60 quid and then they give you a prescription for something.
Yeah, I love to go on testosterone.
Oh, I'd love to do that. That'd be so cool.
I feel like it would solve all my issues.
It probably create a bunch more, but it would be a lot more interesting. I feel like I would feel things more. I would be like, God, this fucking bowl of cereal is amazing. I don't know, like you just be approaching the world in such a more positive way.
Maybe you're getting too many microplastics or something. Endocrine
maybe that's
disruptors.
it.
Do you use a Teflon pan?
Yes, actually. Oh my God.
I've gone off them.
A few years ago, if we were like talking like this, you'd be like, oh, you're like a crank or whatever. And now I'm kind of like, reality's fractured. So the only thing that's real is what I think is real. And it's down to an individual level. What James thinks is real, what I think is real. I used to be like you'd look at like QAnon people or something. I was like, those guys are crazy. And I was like, fuck it.
Now you salute them.
Nothing's real anymore because you bomb a hospital and then you go, oh, actually, I didn't do that. And then everyone goes, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I guess we live in that reality now. I guess we live in that reality where my reality is completely independent from your reality.
Yeah, we live in a reality where you can write your own op-ed piece. Guy. I'm trying to segue to Paulie Doyle's tweet.
This is why we should never create like documents with all the stuff that we should talk about. But I think like, we do need to remember things to talk about, but then I'm like, okay, here's the document. And then you were like, can I see the document? And I was almost like, no. And I think that was the correct instinct because it just means like, I feel like I'm having a conversation with myself, and then every so often, okay. And Graham Linehan's new book has some reviews, and they're just like, oh, okay. We didn't. This drug thing here, real quick. You asked, or you mentioned it, so I'm going to read this out, okay?
What drug thing?
Cian O'Concour, sorry if I have that wrong, on Twitter says recommendations from the Citizens Assembly looks to be a Portugal-style form of decriminalisation of all drugs for personal use. A good starting point from a health approach. Unfortunately, this would not at all address concerns over misuse and abuse of police powers under Misuse of Drugs Act. So the thing that people were saying is that the cops were so heavily involved in it that they were like, we'll need a reason to shake people down. And like basically the people have come to this conclusion that we need a health-based response to it, but the guards can also be involved because they need to somehow be involved. Do you know?
The reason they want to be involved is so that they can continue to get paid off. That's it.
Yes.
If they got rid of this, if the guards had nothing to do with drugs,
there's
no reason to pay them off anymore.
Yeah.
And we found out that they are being paid off, and they are dealing drugs. So they're probably like, no, that's an income revenue.
Yeah, it would literally be the only thing they would do then is to show up to people trying to occupy unoccupied buildings and beat the shit out of them, or to just watch. Well, then they wouldn't even be doing anything. They would just watch as a guy in a balaclava tosses some people out of a house.
There was another one of them attempted today.
Today?
Yeah, in the social centre in Phibsborough.
Oh yeah. 23rd of October 2023, that's when we're recording, just for the record. Because there was a place in Pimlico as well where like it looked like they were going to set up like, oh, we'll set up this place as... Because remember when the tents got burned down over the summer, and then the people who were in that tent city were moved by, I believe they're Revolutionary or Radical Housing League. They moved them to a vacant building so they could stay there. And then about a month later, the guards showed up at the dead of night with a helicopter, an armed response unit, and like guys in riot gear, and they just kicked down the door and evicted a bunch, like made sure that the building could remain empty. But at least those people stayed there for a month. Whereas they showed up at this place in Pimlico, I believe, for like a day. And already, clearly there was security cameras on the place, and they were just like, get over there straight away. So the armed response unit was sent out, and they were just like, get the fuck out of this house. We need to make sure that it stays empty.
Yeah, it was like a pub as well. It was like over a pub. It was just like the most vacant possible place you could ever be. And they were like, we'd rather nuke the city than let you live here.
And that thing in Waterford, did you see that where like the guards... So this guy, he he was evicted, but he was like evicted by a text. So he contacted the RTB and Catu and then Threshold and all this, and he knew his rights, and he basically said that the eviction was illegitimate. But the landlord showed up with a bunch of heavies and tried to kick in his door anyway. So then I think that he rang the guards, but either way, he had a notice from Threshold to confirm that it was an illegal eviction. And they just looked at it and were like, it's a civil matter, we can't get involved. And they're just like throwing this guy's stuff out on the pavement and everything. And then somebody yells at the guard, like, you're a fucking fascist, you're facilitating this or something like that. Not even that aggressive. I don't think they even said you're a fucking fascist. They just said you're facilitating an illegal eviction. And then they got arrested for being like in a public disorder or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. One other thing that happened while we were off the air for all these years was the guy getting attacked by the buzzsaw in Galway.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Like, how many times has it been where like someone's getting attacked and like their door kicked down and they're the guards and the guards answer and they go like, actually we're on the attacker's side for this.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with so apparently your man is like, the guy's like buzzsawing his door open, and then he like opens the door to confront him, and the guy comes at him with the saw, and then the guy's like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" And he just goes like, "I'll cut you in half. I'll change your life. I don't fucking care." And then your man's like, "I'm going to call the guards." He's like, "Call the fucking guards." So then he calls the guards, and then the guards are like, "He says that you owe him rent," and he's like,
"Yeah."
But it wasn't even the case. He didn't even owe him rent. What happened is your man like just changed his bank. So like your man was trying to pay his landlord rent, but kind of couldn't get a hold of him because your man had no number, no anything, whatever. It was like just showed up and was like demanding his money. And this guy was like, "I've already paid you." It was entirely the landlord's fault. And he was like, "Give me my money." And the guy's like, "No." Or I already did, whatever it was. And then the guy comes at him with a buzzsaw, and then, again, he films this. And after the attack happens with the buzzsaw, he runs over to the guard station, shows him the video, and the guy's like, "I'm not looking at this. You sort it out amongst yourselves." Like,
I'm gonna go around town cutting people's masks off with a buzz cutter. Yeah, that goes.
Yeah.
See who the guards side with then.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the guards are pretty, like, I don't know where they stand on COVID. I'm pretty sure that they're like, it's not
Where
real.
do they stand on Israel?
Pro.
Pro? A lot of the guards have quit recently.
Yeah, because of like, basically, shouldn't say that. Shouldn't identify that person who is close to me who told me information about the guards. You can infer who it is yourself. But anyway, the point is, there was rotas. The way that they were organized during COVID meant that it was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And so Drew Harris is like, we got to go back to the way that everything works before COVID, which is like the way it didn't work before COVID. Like all of the things that were happening in Ireland, where it was like everything was at breaking point, including the health service. But the health service was at even more of a breaking point after COVID, whereas the guards, it was like, we need to modify the roster to take into account COVID. And now the guards are like, I actually like having more free time and being able to, like, I don't know, build my life or whatever, like anybody who would have more time and, but the same money. So they're like, I don't want to give that up. And then they're like, well, tough shit. This whole system relies on everybody being exploited. And then they're like, not us, because we're the guards. So like the guards go, well, we're walking out. And like the way that it's, like when you see like with Debenhams or with people who are on strike, let's say, the way they are presented in the media is like, when are you getting back to fucking work? What is your problem? But when the guards left, it was like, you need to pay the guards whatever they fucking want to get them back to work as quickly as possible. It's like just completely changed. And the funny thing about it was there was like, I can't remember what it was. It was a WhatsApp group where it was like the guards were, God, let me see.
I saw a thing in the paper in the Sunday Independent, and it was like, reasons why the guards are quitting, like an infographic.
Yeah.
And the reasons were just like, or like, it was like sentiments the guards were giving about quitting. And then it was just like, love the lads, hated the work. It was just comments like that. It was just like, people being like, best guys in the world, shame about all the work. And then the tone of the article was like, what a miserable, like, it was so defensive of them.
Yeah.
And they had no, I don't know, fuck the guards. They had no real complaints. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah. Or at least the real ones were left out.
Yeah.
The ones about like pregnant women being put on street duty and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I mean, with the guards as well, like with, throughout COVID and like this kind of burgeoning far right that's kind of getting a lot of legs, they just watch people walk onto buses and count migrants. When there's people standing in front of that migrant centre in Clare and people were trying to bring in beds, like carry them in, they were being stopped by these people standing in front of the centre, and the guards didn't disperse them or anything like that. Whereas, of course, when you see during COVID, when a bunch of people were drinking on the streets and they just charged at them with batons, I guess Debenhams, that was a big one that people kept bringing up as well. All the old women being torn off of this picket line.
Yeah.
When they just evict people from buildings and they bring an armed response unit and dogs and all that type of shit. It's like, where is this? Well, I guess they just know what they're there for. They're like, I'm protecting private property and then getting a few licks in when it suits me. So this isn't really, they broadly agree with the protesters who are stopping migrants from coming into hotels. So yeah, this is the thing I was trying to, it might not even be interesting. I didn't read the article, but Garda Commissioner Harris warns officers over unacceptable social media messages. So he's issued a warning to Gardaí, ordering them to stop posting and circulating malicious and defamatory comments about their colleagues on social media. It comes after false allegations about a senior Gardaí were circulated on WhatsApp. Messages calling Gardaí scabs for working overtime on the Garda Representative Association's recent days of industrial action were also spread. Okay, so I don't know whether the rumors are true or not, but like, let's say you hear somebody is working when we're all on strike, and then they call them fucking scabs. I was like, that's really funny to hear coming from a guard, like, fucking scab, you're crossing the picket line. It was like,
yeah.
And then I was like, fuck you. All right, do you want to wrap up now then? Or
what do you think? What do the Eamon Ryan thing? Him writing his own obituary.
Wait, he didn't do that.
No, he didn't.
I don't know what. There's something with Eamon Ryan where it's like, there's not really anything with Eamon Ryan. It's just that there's like a weird, like, there was 2 articles released in the past few days that were, hey, the Greens are actually accomplishing quite a lot in government. And one of them was written by a guy who didn't reveal that he was a former PR person for the Greens.
Yeah.
And I didn't read any of the articles because I wasn't interested. Because I just, like, with your own 2 eyes, you know that's like entirely not true at all, that the Greens are getting anything out of this coalition. But you feel like they're just building up towards next year, and they're like,
I know, it's
trying to make the Greens viable.
Yeah, you see them putting out feelers being like, the Greens are happy to go into government with anybody.
Yeah.
I bet they are. I bet they love to.
I'm trying to think of one that I saw recently, which was like, yeah, and it was Nessa Horgan appeared on like Virgin Media Tonight. That was it. The alternative budget for Sinn Féin. And then she was like, this just looks like a love letter to Fianna Fáil. It's like, you were in government with Fianna Fáil. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like the budget you are signing off on is it?
Yeah,
it's Fianna Fáil because they wrote half of it.
And then the budget as well, like just like don't give a fuck. Like we didn't pay attention to it because like Israel and Gaza was very pressing. But like when you do pay attention to it, you just wish you hadn't, because it's just like well, we've actually got some exciting tax rebates in there. If you are earning below 1,000, or like below a certain amount of money, then you can claim of this at the end. It was like, shut the fuck up. Or like, mothers who have, 2 kids over the age of 5 can now expect to receive, and you're just like, just shut the fuck up. The main draw of it was that they're giving landlords a bunch more money.
Shauna Bowers in the Irish Times, Tuesday, October the 10th, 2023. A total of 86% of landlords in the market own just 1 or 2 properties. Minister for Finance Michael McGrath said, which is why the government is introducing a temporary tax relief, which will primarily benefit small landlords. In the first year, €3,000 of landlords' rental income will be taxed at the standard 20% rate rather than the higher rate, resulting in an additional €600 to the landlord. This will increase to €4,000 in 2025, resulting in a benefit of €800 to landlords, before rising again to €5,000 in both 2026 and 2027, which will result in a €1,000 annual.
And then the thing that they were like, and also for renters, we've decided to give you another rental credit, which I'm not able to avail of, okay? Well, none of us are able, basically nobody is able to avail of, because it requires that your landlord be registered with the RTB, which nobody's landlord ever fucking is. But anyway, the point is that their solution to it is like, what we're going to do is we're going to create a tax break for landlords, and we're going to give you, the renter, more money to give the landlord. I was like, what is your solution just to keep paying the landlord more money,
I know. And then he said as well that he's going to be giving the Land Development Agency $6 billion extra. And apparently he's come out since and he's no idea where that money is coming from. He just said it. And then he was like, the sums basically only add up to $3 billion.
Yeah. Well, even the LDA, I'm not entirely sure how that works, at all. There's all these different acronyms which just accumulate property and land, and then don't do anything with them, or sell them off at bargain prices. And it's like, hey, we're going to give the LDA more money. It's like, okay, yes, no, I don't give a shit.
But it's instead of saying we're going to give away this $3 billion to the wealthiest people in the country. This $3 billion that we have, it's like, we're going to promise you we're going to find an extra $3 billion now to give you that we don't have. You know what I mean?
Well, they do, because apparently they've got a rainy day fund which is overflowing, and they're just like, yeah, we're just going to save it until shit gets way worse. I was like it's not really.
But now they're setting up 2 more rainy day funds. Did you see that? They were, it was, I can't remember who said it, but they were like, don't worry, we're not giving it all away. We're setting up more rainy day schemes.
I know the desire is to make it so frustrating that you just don't give a shit and you switch off. Just fuck me over. I don't give a shit anymore. You just made me so bored and upset, and I don't know how to respond to this. And that was the previous Celtic Ligers was like, okay, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to read shit about Nama and try to understand it.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, fool's game. They'll just it's a fucking HIV virus. It just mutates. They'll just figure out another way to make it overly complex and mind-numbing so that you just tune out. You just need to know they're fucking you, and I hate them, and just I don't know what else to say.
I want to get a bit of that energy back though.
All right, fine.
At least figure out what sort of HIV virus it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Is it the AIDS virus, or is it? Here's another thing that I wanted to do really quick before we wrap up, because I think I'll wrap up. I like recording these long episodes though; they're fun. Graham Linehan watch, I'm calling it.
Okay, Graham Linehan's watch. Tell me all about it.
Graham Linehan's watch. It's kind of like Bernard's watch, except Yeah, when you click it, people stay the same gender forever. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen Bernard's watch.
It's a guy you need. It's a little kid, and he's got a watch, and when he clicks it, time stops.
Oh. I thought it was called Ben 10.
No, he has a watch, but that's like turns him into different monsters, I think.
Turns him into a monster.
Yeah, 10 different monsters.
Yeah, it looks like Graham Linehan. It's actually 10 different monsters.
Yeah.
Oh. It's sort of arbitrary, isn't it?
Well, maybe they add more monsters. I don't know.
Do you remember
how much what do you want,
101
less or more?
Which is like...
It's an even number. It's a nice 10.
I want a
10's
reason.
good.
I just want a reason. Like
It rhymes
12.
with his name.
12 would be good.
Fine.
One for each hour.
Yeah, okay. What about just... Whatever. Do you know what? Fine.
One for each one for each gender.
Yeah, so Graham Linehan's book came out. Apparently it sold about just over 300 copies.
We're going to have to download that and read it.
Apparently, like...
It's really good.
No, the reviews have said it's really terrible. And like, so I read, the first review I read was on The Independent, and this person was like going in on Graham Linehan saying like, evidence of which Graham Linehan does not provide, you know, and so they were like, it turns out that they were like pro-transgender, which kind of surprised me for the Independent, which is not the Irish Independent, it's like the UK one. But
yeah, I don't expect any English person to be pro.
Well, that's another reason, yeah. But he was like, this person was pro-trans, and they were like calling Graham Linehan out and all of his bullshit. So I was like, this isn't the review I want to read. I want to read the review from the average English pundit who is like, just has fucking given themselves a stroke thinking about somebody using their preferred bathroom.
Yeah.
So I found this woman called Janice Turner, and then in like just like the opening paragraph straight away, you're like, okay, this is exactly what I wanted. Because I'm a fucking sicko. All right, you happy? So here she is in the Times. Tough Crowd by Graham Linehan. Fucking hell, man. I've got this thing that gets me beyond the paywall.
Got a credit card.
Yeah. I only read it for the articles about the Times. Whatever online grief I've had in 6 years reporting on the medical transition of children or rapists in women's jails, I know the slightest criticism of Graham Linehan will earn me far more. Ironic, really, given that the first objective of what has evolved into the gender critical movement was to defy Stonewall's mantra, no debate. So this lady, she goes on to say, for the mainly women in academia, the arts or public sector who were bullied or sacked simply for the belief that biological sex is real and salient, the support of this famous man while their friends turned away has been a huge solace. And like plenty of times in here she talks about like, you know, the grotesqueries of trans ideology and surgery, and she dead names a bunch of people.
Right.
But even she was like, Graham Linehan is fucking crazy. She basically just accuses him of just being like a complete white knight and just being like, just thinks he's stepping into the debate and protecting vulnerable women when he's like drowning out their voices and making their demands seem hysterical. Which, I mean, it seem hysterical, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been his thing. It's like, I'm just defending women's spaces. And then he's like doing it from a women's bathroom.
Yeah. He's only in there to check to see that no men are getting in.
Yeah.
This issue brings so much new craziness, man. There was a bit where she said, she just perfectly summed it up, even though her writing is dreadful. But she basically says, if you were to read this book and you hadn't been on social media for like years, you'd think like, why are they so mean to him? And she's just like, he's a fucking psycho. And then one of the things she said, she finishes off the review by getting into, you know, in typical kind of TERF, because she's a TERF, but she's from a different faction of TERFs. And she goes, in 2019, when I blocked him on Twitter, Linehan emailed me, no copy editor there, Linehan emailed correcting it for them, me, to ask why, and was enraged when I replied it was because he was doing more harm than good and clearly needed help. His wife, friends, and many former colleagues have all said the same. But Linehan cannot hear them. Playing to an adoring new audience on social media, he is deafened by their applause, and as odd flashes of his book show, it is a great loss. But this was like, so the two reviews basically said the same thing. It's like the first 100 so pages are like, hey, it's nice hearing his little background, how he came to write Father Ted and his experience working on those shows. And then they go, and then the rest of the book is just a diatribe against trans people with completely unverified facts and comparing them to Nazis and eugenicists in ways that is unhelpful to both sides of the debate, apparently. Even though, like I say, I don't think it's a debate. Trans people are real.
Some gentle laughter in the background there.
Can you hear that? Yeah. Zainab's playing No Man's Sky on mushrooms. It's just been like waving her hand in front of her face the entire recording. And then another Graham Linehan watch news. He signed a. Where is this? It's called the British Friends of Israel, and we unequivocally condemn all acts of terrorism against civilians in Israel, especially the massacre on 7th of October. And he's also like, within the thing as well, they're also saying that the media isn't doing enough to condemn Hamas. So, because apparently some of the people in the media, I'd like to know who, are referring to them as militants or fighters when they should be calling them terrorists. God damn it. So Graham Linehan signed this along with a bunch of other weird racists and conservatives, including Andrew Neil, Richard Dawkins. Who's the other one? There's another good person. Oh yeah, Jacob Rees-Mogg. List goes on. Just a bunch of fucking assholes. And just goes to show that being in Britain affects your mental health. You gotta come back for air every now and again. Anyway, that's right. Kind of. There was another thing about. I just had too many articles. There's a thing about Pat Leahy I thought was funny, where like he wrote this article where it's like, I don't know how he's like the political editor of the Irish Times, because he writes articles that are like, it seems that a lot of people in Ireland like Palestine and politicians have to walk a tightrope to get it right. But, they support them for these reasons. Sinn Féin supports them more so than other parties. And then it just ends. It's just like, wait, what was this? It was just like, just this article that like, there seems to be this kind of suggestion, Sinn Féin like them though, so interesting.
Yeah, he's gone to the point now where it's like, that is indicative of them being evil. Like,
yeah, exactly.
If Sinn Féin likes it, it's evil.
Yeah.
It's like, he doesn't even need to say it anymore. Alright, keep going.
That's alright. Look, let's just wrap it the fuck up, man. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing else here. That was a good little broad rundown of the news.
Yeah.
Events that are happening in Ireland and in
They're getting back into
Harry
our
Potter
stride,
universe. Yeah.
They're an episode back, getting into our stride. There's some homework to do for next week.
Oh man, I'm not doing homework.
You're not gonna read
homework sucks.
The homework rules.
Homework drools, more like.
No, it's how you cement your knowledge of what you learned in podcast school that day.
I just remembered, like, when I was in 5th class, the teacher forgot to write the homework on the board.
No,
we were like, oh hell yeah.
Oh, right.
No, I didn't. Everybody was like, hell yeah, we're not gonna do it. And then this guy puts up his hand and he's like, I don't even care. We didn't get homework, teacher. And everybody's like, fuck. And I'm still thinking on that guy, Ross Rooney, who is now a professional esports coach. It's like, get fucked, man, for doing that to us.
Wait, why did he do that?
Because it was like, he was just being such an edgelord, just kind of having a go at us. You all thought you weren't going to get homework. I'm going to get you homework. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's his name? Ross Rooney.
Yeah. Please look him up. His team is called, no, I don't know what it's called. But I became obsessed with it for a while, like, because I was watching him doing esports. And I was like, the funny thing about like esports is that to me, it would be like, this is an entirely new sport. So it can have an entirely new aesthetic. But then you watch it and it's like, the exact same aesthetic as regular sports. So they're all wearing like their branded jumpers, and then after a match somebody comes up to them, so what do you think today? Is like, well, the lads, they went out there, they just put it all on show. You know, you got to give it to the other team. They just had it better today. They were more.
Yeah.
They're talking about Counter-Strike, and it's like, I just can't get over it. I was just like, you had a chance to do something here, man, and now it's like the same thing that the bullies did.
Do you remember we were watching the Game Gear, or whatever that TV show is called. Remember we used to be on Sky One? Were we not watching that? Or was that someone else?
I think it might have been someone else. There was a show, I think I remember, called Game Station.
Yeah, they like reviewed games, and they had like an esports competition.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, you know, this is Barry from Suffolk, and he's here to like try to beat his mate at.
Yeah. I love that. I love that when they have
Horizon
like
2.
The two guys who are very obviously like never played a game in their life, and it's like, welcome to Game Station, and they're just like on the floor, and there's all these screaming teenagers, and then they're like, yeah, we've got Dominic here who's planning to play his friend fucking Simon.
Yeah, exactly.
Sonic Heroes or something. Like some bizarre game where it was
Crash
just,
Team Racing, and then they play one round, and then
it would be the most boring thing in the world.
Yeah, because they weren't particularly good. They were like 11 years old. And it's like, oh, you beat him.
There was a show called When Games Attack. So originally there was a show called Games Master, which was on in the late 80s, early 90s. And it was quite popular, I believe. Dexter Fletcher hosted it at one point. But before that, there was a guy called... God, his last name is Diamond. I can't remember. He's a Scottish guy anyway. And then he went on to host When Games Attack, which was on Bravo. And some of those episodes were really good. But one of the things that they did was they would, you know, the way like that, where they would have people face off against each other playing games. They would have two professional, like Premier League footballers come in and play as their respective teams on Pro Evo.
Okay.
And then they would have like a football league. So you'd like come back, and eventually like the winner would like face off in like this digital football league.
Oh yeah.
Which I was like, at least that's something, you know? It's like, it's not some like random 12-year-old playing like Cell Damage. And you're just, what the fuck is that? Like,
yeah, it's like a StarCraft knockoff.
Yeah.
For the first like, Xbox or something.
Yeah.
They're cool.
And there isn't like a bunch of people screaming. They actually have like, they've hired somebody to do like a fake football narrator, like, get in there, you know, that type of shit. And I was like, that's funny.
All right,
so check out When Games Attack, because I have watched episodes of it on YouTube. And tell me what that guy's name is first.
And check out Rick and Morty.
Check out Rick and Morty. Check out Ricky Morty.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get funnier, folks, I guess. I don't know. So, what are we going to do? What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. And then go on to buymeacoffee.com/Celtic Ligers.
Yeah, we should probably say that at the start, I suppose. Like, I should have thought of it, but I suppose to the end of a 2-hour episode.
Well, I was thinking, like, oh, is this episode... Because, like, I uploaded the one last week, and I was like, fuck, like, is the audio quality in this any good? Like, what do people think of this? You know, doing the usual shit. And I was talking to Mark Maloney, and he's like, well, I only listened to the first hour, so... But the first hour seemed pretty good, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah, 2 hours might be a bit much.
I don't know. I love 2 hours. I'm a big fan of 2-hour podcast. But I mean, I'll do whatever. I don't care. Just talk until we don't want to talk anymore, I think.
Yeah, maybe that's just the way to do it.
But then just stop early.
Joe Rogan style.
Yeah. All right. So that's us. Check out fucking that website I said, and then also we're on socials, and I don't know, whatever, man. Do you know? Yeah. All right. Bye. See ya.
Bye.